We've saved the 2010's top 5 new and innovative water-efficient products as identified by John and Bill as our last presentation. Bill and John obviously have been up here for a while, so I don't need to introduce them. So if you'd like to come forward and let us know what these products are.
What we did is you'll see some of the slides that you've seen if you were here 18 months ago or at the symposium 18 months ago. We have some disclaimers, which we have to put in here because what we want to do is make it clear that we're not beholden to any of the companies or products that we're going to be showing you, financially or otherwise. So these are just our opinions. We make some projections on savings. They're sort of off-the-wall projections, but in some cases they're based on some highly sophisticated studies, and I'll point that out as we go. These criteria are virtually no different than the ones from the first symposium. We are not covering outdoor irrigation products. That's a whole field on itself, and hopefully someday maybe the irrigation people will become part of the symposium and present a list of products as well. But we do cover residential and non-residential. In fact, I think you'll see a bit of each today. And we like to think that we know something about what the water use is and how efficient these products are, rather than just a shotgun approach and throwing up a bunch of ideas. There are studies out there, either field or lab studies, not necessarily by us, but maybe by others, that give some degree of documentation on these products that assure us that, yeah, there is a savings potential there. It perhaps hasn't yet even been touched or captured, but the potential exists. So how do we select? We work with the same people we worked with before, which includes the manufacturers. In today's case, you're going to see some information that was developed from the Food Service Technology Center, and I'll explain that in a minute. Some of the lab testing that was done not just by Bill at Veritec, but by others as well. And then, of course, interviews with people who we deal with on an ongoing basis. So let's get started. First product that I want to talk about is high efficiency commercial dishwashers. Now, this is important because the evolution of water use in dishwashing has been rather remarkable on the commercial side. And part of this results from a study that my friend Bill Hoffman up here in the front row completed just a few weeks ago for the California Urban Water Conservation Council, and learned some things about what's going on in the commercial dishwasher field. I might point out that most of the efficiencies developed in this field were driven by energy, not water. Energy costs are very high in the food service business. That drove efficiencies in equipment, and because so much of the water, in fact in this case all of it is hot, it drove some water savings along with it. So water was a side benefit of significant energy system improvements. Now, you all know maybe what a rack is in a dishwasher. At your home, you probably have a 2-rack dishwasher, 20 inches by 20 inches. Essentially, that's what we're talking about today, only in a different setup, a different kind of machine, and certainly a different process. Back in the 90s, well, let's go back to the year 2000. Well, that's about when I started looking at commercial dishwashers. We were talking 1.2 gallons to fully wash, rinse, and sanitize a full rack of dishes. Now, you think about your home dishwasher and you have 2 racks, that would be 2.4 gallons. Most dishwashers today in your home use 5 gallons for that same amount of dishes. Now, 2010, there are dishwashers that are down closer to 0.3 gallons per rack and lower. That's about a little more than 2 half-liter bottles of water to wash 30 dishes. Now, how is that done? It's done through the water reuse. Hot rinse water is used subsequently after rinsing for subsequent washes, and it's a water reuse system that is pretty innovative, uses some very sophisticated nozzle technologies in many of these machines. So there is great potential. Unfortunately, this kind of equipment is very, very expensive. So take a look at water use over the past, well, we can compare today what it is today. Hand washing of 2 racks of dishes took about 18 gallons, according to a study done at the University of Bonn a number of years ago. The new non-efficient residential dishwashers use about 10 gallons. The new Energy Star residential dishwasher is going to be set at 5.8 gallons maximum. Yet you'd have the new most efficient commercial dishwashers down at 0.3. You can compare residential to commercial and see the significant difference in the efficiencies that have been achieved in these products. Now, some would say, well, you have to add the pre-rinse spray valve to this, and that would add a small fraction to the far right green bar. But the savings potential is significant. Now, no way is it easy to capture all of these potential savings in the US and Canada. The machines are expensive. The machines last a long time, 15 years and more. A lot of them are rebuilt rather than purchased new. And we'll show you later on how much of this water savings potential is capturable without financial incentives from say the water or energy industry. Let's move on to the next one here. I don't know how many of you know what a waterless wok is. How many of you have been in the kitchen of an Asian type restaurant? Boy, not very many of you. If you've ever walked in and you see an installation like this, you'll see water running down the back of the stove area. You'll see those 3 faucets running continuously, all to cool the area of the woks. Now, this has been one of the largest water using operations in the restaurant industry in terms of the kitchen. I'm not talking about the dish room, but the kitchen. So when the Aussies came up with a waterless wok where water is reused, chilled and reused, it got a lot of attention. Unfortunately, there's some cultural issues with changing a restaurant from a conventional stove and wok setup to a waterless system. But the savings, again, are very significant. The firm wok water saver in the U.S. is very new. The product uses a chiller, and this is the lab setup here, so it's hard to see, but the stove is on the right, the chiller is the blue item at the left, and right now there's some degree of work going on to eliminate the chiller and cool the water to cool the stove without a chiller and without that additional energy. The potential savings, again, amount to a lot, but it's a difficult sell. Again, because so far Asian restaurants have been reluctant to change their practice that they've had for many, many, many years. They've had this difficulty in Australia, and this is new to the U.S., and I expect it will be a difficult sell here in the U.S. as well.